riffing on the idea of an action figure. Someone just brought up that, you know, the action figure is just that, as long as there's not an authorship, which is, that's the mental processes identification as the body. The body isn't doing anything in a sense other than what the body does. It's what the mind does with the body and the meaning it gives the body, which is me, that distorts a lot of things. So, but then again, something that isn't so needs to have something that at least seems to be so to sort of base its story about being so on. Yeah. So the mind had to identify with something. So it's become identified as with the body, so that that becomes the fixed object that it can self around. You know, it has to produce an illusion every day because it's not real, and that illusion is based on the fixated object, the body. And then it spins a whole story about that body being the doer and the haver and the seer and the thinker. And in a sense, it mixes up the qualities of awareness and consciousness with the attributes of a body. Yeah, so now the body, me, is doing the seeing and the hearing and the feeling and the touching. Yet it's obvious that the organs of the senses aren't the thing that's sensing. Yeah, they just facilitate the awareness or the consciousness. But the mental process just keeps glomming on those qualities of, let's say, spirit or no-thingness, and trying to paste them on the body, and then let the body become the alpha and omega and the doer and the haver. And yet it's, if looked at, it can be confusing. If seen, it's clear. Yeah? But if looked at, it can be confusing. And the idea of seeing and looking at, for me, is looking is a form of blindness in a way, because it's rooted in the subject-object modality of me as the subject and everything else as an object. That's a form of looking. Seeing is not based on that subject-object. Seeing is based on subjectivity. Yeah, it's much clearer. Looking is just really like a bastardized version of seeing. The seeing gets claimed, and in the claiming, there's something that is inherently available in the seeing isn't available while looking. Yeah, the looking sort of like shrinks the aperture. So, and all looking stems from self-centeredness, really. And then we're trying to find new ways of looking to sort of, let's say, correct the distortions of self-centeredness. But we want to be the one who's wearing the new glasses. Yeah. When the whole point is to take off the glasses. But if you're identified as the body, you'll believe the body isn't a glass, isn't a facilitator of consciousness, but it is conscious. It is the one that's conscious, yeah? And that little bit of a mistake causes us to never be able to entertain freedom, because we can only entertain freedom as what we're identified with, yeah? So when I start dreaming of and have noble aspirations for freedom, it's freedom as a self, not freedom from the idea of being a self, but freedom as a self. To that, freedom as a self is a form of slavery because it's never reached. Yeah, self is never going to become free, but it can get caught up in the act of becoming free all day and for years and for lifetimes probably. Yeah, so certain things are failed, and they're never going to be unfailed. Yeah, a failed system is never going to be unfailed. Its nature is that it's a failed system. The only thing you can do about a failed system is to tell the truth about that system, and then in telling the truth about it, there's a possibility that you may find that you're not part and parcel of that system. Yeah, there was just a reliance on it. And if you're not part and parcel of that system, you can actually be free from the failure of that system. Yeah? But as a product of the system, that product can never transcend the system that it's produced by or appears in. It can't do it. Yeah? Because it doesn't have any real existence. It just seems to exist while that system is in play. Yes? While the selfing is going on, the whole system, that all that selfing provides electricity to that one bulb of you. Yeah, as long as that bulb is getting electricity all day from your interest and attention, it seems to be alive. Yeah, it seems to be giving light. It seems to, yeah. When that's plugged out, and that's never going to leave its socket. It can't leave the system that's fueling its seeming appearance. Yeah, and still be bright and still seem to be real. It can't. So that's the dilemma of spiritual seeking at times. We're trying to get out of something that's really uncomfortable as the product of that system that's really uncomfortable. It's impossible. So when that's seen, there's a surrender, but it's a deep relaxation of surrender. You've exhausted all of the possibilities of how self can get out of self. You've come to a conclusion, mind has, that that's impossible. Then the fruitlessness of that is seen, and the mind moves. It leaves that system.